Hello YouTubers. A few years ago we decided to add a permanent raised bed garden into our yard for several reasons. The primary reason was because we learned that a raised bed garden could extend our growing season by about a month in both the spring and fall, since the soil would be warmed up much quicker by the sun. Another reason was because there's far less bending and stooping to plant and harvest the items you're growing. Furthermore, we can sit on the sides of the bed while performing any work. Finally, when growing in a contained area, it's much easier to control the soil conditions and to control weeds or pests. Here's the raised bed garden we decided on. As you can see, it's built from low-cost cinder blocks. While these may be a little more work to initially set up, we know that these will pay off better in the long run since we don't have to worry about replacing any rotting boards. In addition, it also allows for us to add a couple additional features like a hoop system for attaching shade cloth or a plastic cover. The dimensions we decided on provides us with a 4-foot wide by 16-foot long growing area. The width should allow us to be able to reach the center from either side of the bed, while the length should allow for us to grow just about anything we want in this garden. We'll post a materials list below this video in the comments area, but for now the materials we use for this project include 32 16-inch by 8-inch by 4-inch solid concrete blocks. At the time of this posting, we purchased these for 88 cents each. We'll also use 64 8-inch by 8-inch by 16-inch regular cinder blocks, and those were about 98 cents each at the time of this posting. Now when you buy your concrete blocks, also be sure to get 8 corner blocks. We'll also use several bags of sand and gravel. That'll be used for leveling things. And then there are several optional accessories that we're going to want to add, and for those accessories we're going to want 20 pieces of 1.5-inch PVC tubing that's cut into 16-inch lengths. We'll also want a roll of 1-inch vinyl black well tubing. This usually comes in 100-foot rolls, and we're going to cut that up to form our hoops later on. And then we'll need about 5 or 6 bags of instant concrete mix for installing the PVC tubes. We begin this project by roughly laying out the solid blocks where our garden will be. When we lay out the blocks, it's best to align them with the long sides of the bed oriented north and south. This will ensure that we receive good sunlight across our entire garden area. Once the blocks are roughly laid out, I ran a string line down each side to mark the area. After that, it's important to find the lowest spot, since that's where we're going to begin setting the first block. I used a transit level for finding the lowest spot in my yard, but you can do this with a regular level or even by using your eyeballs. The idea is to start in one corner and just work your way around the base, digging wherever necessary, and then using the sand and gravel for making the blocks level with each other. After getting the block in place, be sure to give it a few good whacks with a rubber mallet to ensure that it's settled properly. Now it's extremely important that you take your time setting the first row of blocks. If this row isn't leveled perfectly, the entire wall will be kind of whopper-jawed, and you'll probably not be happy with the final project. Otherwise, if you get things right, you'll be happy with your work for many years to come. After getting the first course of solid blocks just perfect, it's time to add the first row of regular cinder blocks on top, being sure to alternate the seams between the solid blocks. In other words, no two seams between the 2 layers should line up with each other. There's no need for concrete here since we're simply dry stacking the blocks. This process should be fine since we're only going to stack things a few blocks high. After getting the first row of blocks in place, simply stack the second and final row on top, again staggering the seams. The main bed is now complete, and we only have a few steps left to complete things. So far, we're looking pretty good. Since we have a problem with chipmunks and moles in our area, we chose to also install a layer of hardware cloth screening in the bottom of our bed. This stuff is pretty expensive, but we wanted to use every ounce of precaution available to protect our garden and to get things right the first time. This step is completely optional if you're building one of these yourself. Now that the walls are in place and we have our screening down, it's time to add a layer of landscaping fabric. This is to keep the grass and weeds from growing up into our bed from the ground below. This step is also completely optional, but again, it's a good idea for every ounce of prevention. Next comes the important step of adding the PVC posts that will be used to support our removable hoops. 2 of the 16-inch posts should be inserted into each of the locations displayed with a red circle. The reason we place 2 posts in each location is so that we can have an upper and lower hoop. This will support our sunscreen or plastic material from both above and below. To set the posts in place, I simply placed them into the holes and then poured a dry mixture of Quikrete around them. The dry mixture held them in place while I moved on to the next hole. After all of the posts were where I wanted them, I simply poured a couple gallons of water into each of the holes to activate the concrete mixture. You may choose to do this differently if desired. I also added concrete into one of the middle holes on each of the ends of the structure. This was done for extra support in the walls. You can also add additional concrete into more holes if you wish. It's probably not necessary and really depends on how much you wish to spend on your growing bed. Our bed's now complete and it's time to begin adding dirt. When we went to the local nursery in our area, we purchased something they referred to as a garden mixture. It was actually a mixture of topsoil, compost, and manure. Now, if you build your bed the same dimensions as ours, you'll probably need about 4 cubic yards or 107 cubic feet of soil. It's also best to get a little bit of extra soil since it will settle somewhat over time. Note the standing water and mud in our yard around our new bed. To remedy that, we repurposed some old landscaping timbers and added a good thick layer of mulch around the bed. Now it's just a matter of planting seeds and watching things grow. We'll be sure to post some more updates later as we continue to build additional accessories for our raised bed system. For now, you can see an experimental item for our sweet peas to climb in the background of this picture. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and also check out our website at informationcupboard.com. Thanks for watching.